Peace. All right. Getting right back at you niggas. Want some information going on in the media today. And going to give you guys an understanding between human thought and thinking like an occultist when these particular issues come down the pipe. And, I hear this argument sometimes. Well, what's wrong with being human? We're all human, and underneath we're all human. Well, first you need to understand the difference between the way the ancients thought and the way you think. Your ancient ancestors that you love to always say, oh, my ancestors are doing something. They understood that they were a little bit more cosmic, a little bit more advanced in terms of what they are in terms of their entire existence than just the human, that they have been regulated down to humanity for a particular reason. And that reason was to study an aspect of ourselves, to study ourselves in a certain condition. And the overall end result added to a collective of a greater form of thinking. But they also knew that you can access that greater form of thinking. There's ways to tap into that. There's ways to do that, because to accessing that greater form of thinking, it therefore then puts humanity in a perspective for you. See, there's a line in the sand that you niggas need to understand. When you say conscious, then you're actually drawing that line in the sand from humanity. You can't have it both ways. Now, we're not talking about stupidity. Like, of course, you're having a human experience. So you do human things. You go to the store, you eat hamburgers or whatever the fuck it is you like to do. You shouldn't find guilt in that. But you need to understand, because since you're having a human experience, there's a certain amount of you that has to be satisfied, has to go through the motions. But where the line in the sand comes in that I was talking about is where your thinking changes. It's in the mind. That's where the line in the sand is in the mind. And then that's where you get phrases which comes out of Gnosticism. Are you in it or of it? I am in it, but not of it. So I am in humanity. Therefore, you'll see me looking almost as if any other human, reacting to human situations like a human. But I am not of humanity, meaning I am not in the fucking experiment. So you got to look at it this way. Your thinking as a conscious person makes you a scientist. That's the difference. Human thought versus scientific thought. As a scientist, as a conscious person who thinks as a scientist would, and that's the best description you can come up with, you're not in the experiment. You are not of the experiment. You know what I'm saying? You're in the situation, you're in the lab with everybody else, but you're not of the experiment. So for instance, you're either, see, when you talk about, well, I still want to be a rapper, and I want to be a conscious rapper, and I want to be a rapper that changes, or rap again, and I'm going to bring it back, and all the rest of that shit. What you're talking about, or when you're even talking about, oh, Trayvon Martin, and we got to do something, these crooked, funky white cops are just showing their ass all over black people who I can't breathe. When you're doing that, that may be valid for you, and that is valid for humans. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's wrong in the classic sense of right and wrong. If that's your level, then by all means, you should be out there with signs. You should be marching. You should be beating whatever fucking drum you feel it is, or actually not even what you feel, what you were told by Eric Michael Dyson, fucking the other nigga with the afro, the nigga that looks like his breath stink all the time. Whatever they tell you you should be doing, then you should be doing. if that's your level of thought. So I hold a different standard to people who call themselves conscious. I see you as the scientist. I see the people or human thought as the rat in this experience. So you want to be a rapper that's going to save conscious people, you just lowered yourself down to the rat in the motherfucking lab. You're the one that's being observed. They give you stimuli and you react. That's what they do to a rat or a fucking monkey in a goddamn cage in a lab. They give them situations and then they sit and observe how the monkey or the rat's going to respond. This comes from a bigger picture of conscious versus humanity. Humanity responds mostly emotionally to certain stimuli. And certain lab situations, or as a scientist, you can predict certain responses. So they do things with these police, show you videos, and to create certain conditioned response, to see how you will respond, because they are putting themselves in the position of a scientist. You really need to know the war that you're in, because you guys aren't even fighting. You're not even fighting the true war that you're in. And that true war is those who know and those who don't know. And those who know are manipulating those who don't know. And the ones who are black and calling themselves conscious are performing like those who don't know. So you need to get it out your head that you're doing something, because all of what you're doing has only amounted to your pride. You know what I'm saying? You feel better because you have melanin. But if you're not activating that melanin on a higher level, understand there's levels to melanin. There's the physical level. That's why black don't crack and all of that. And then there's the more advanced spiritual level that you need to activate. You're going to have to do some work to activate. You're going to have to get into your own mind, your own head to activate. You're going to have to change your form of thinking, how you act and react as a human versus a scientist, i.e. a conscious person. You're going to have to change that to start activating these things, to give it the light or the nutrition that your melanin needs. Melanin is activated by light. Knowledge alone isn't going to do it. When you activate that knowledge, let it marinate into wisdom, and then make it manifest into an understanding, meaning a lifestyle or a thought change, that provokes a different lifestyle for you, a different way to interpret planet Earth in the experience that you're having. When you let that particular light starts to feed and activate these ancient things that have atrophied in you. So you need to understand how important that is. And when you do that, you will finally see that you're in the real war. Just because you know the name the Illuminati and that Beyonce is wearing a fucking Baphomet ring like this one here doesn't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean shit. Just because you know that doesn't mean shit. Until you're able to make it merge and help you evolve into a new form, or reattach you to your ancient form of thinking, I should say. You're not even in the war. You're being played. And we're going to get to that today with Bill Cosby. First, we're going to get some things out the way. Now, let's understand some basic shit that you should be studying, but I know you're not. How do I know? Because I teach it in class. And this is something called the Kabbalion, or easily found on the web as the Kabbalion. And it's spelled Kybalion. But the Kabbalion is just a later day name for understanding that black folks already made manifest in this reality. And the Kabbalion comes from the wisdom of Tahuti, or the laws of Tahuti. But really, when you read it, it's actually a principle. And I understand that when it comes up with this principle, because I know actually these laws or sub-laws come out of these principles. For instance, the principle of cause and effect. Under that principle, the law of attraction is actually both. Also Murphy's Law, for those of y'all who knows. And you reap what you sow. All of these things are actually laws, but come out of the principle of cause and effect, let's just say. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. And if you think it's a coincidence, it's just this law unrecognized. So I'm sure you heard in conscious circles someone saying you not understand, but you heard a lecturer say there's no such thing as coincidence. Well, that's what they mean. There's no such thing as a coincidence because nothing happens by chance. Cause and effect. That's a principle of Tahuti. And see, because I've heard people sit around and say, and I heard people say on tape, I don't believe in laws of attraction. If you don't believe in the laws of attraction, then you don't understand how this universe works, you dumb motherfucking fake ass so-called such and such conscious fucko. You don't understand your basic science, cause and effect. You get what I'm saying? And to understand these laws is to actually understand how this place works. And really the science of these laws or principles is actually coming up with your own interpretation or way to annul a lot of the negative effects of these principles. And when you go through these principles, number one, the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. First thing you'll understand, for those of y'all who keep throwing these words around but don't know your science, when you hear these principles, you'll hear these principles are really talking about a lot of duality, left and right, polarity, rhythm, the pendulum swing, correspondence, above, below, cause and effect, action and reaction, you know what I'm saying? Gender, masculine, feminine, rhythm, always moving, left to right. What you're talking about is balance, or what you're talking about is another understanding of Maya, which you niggas like to talk about often, but really only understand at a surface level. You're talking about Maya. Now you understand why Tahuti is married to Maya. Tahuti is married to the 7 principles of the universe. And then you've also heard Maya represents balance in the universe. That's what we're talking about, scientists, people. But what I want to talk about in particular is the principle of rhythm. And you're going to see why. First, we need to talk about something that is connected to rhythm, the principle of polarity. And without going into detail, I'm going to just speak on what the law of Tahuti says the principle of rhythm is. Principle of polarity, that is. Principle of polarity. And principle of polarity is actually the 4th principle of Tahuti. Principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has a pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Let me repeat that. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degrees. All extremes meet, all truths are but half-truths. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes can be reconciled. So when they say opposites are identical in nature, what they're talking about is, let's just say, hot and cold. One man's hot is another man's cold. Another man's cold is another man's hot. Where does hot and cold start and begin? It really doesn't. It's all just one thing. That's called temperature. So to a occultist, someone who claims to be conscious, a metaphysician, or hermeticist, whatever the fuck it is you're calling yourself, if you're calling yourself an advanced person, let me be clear on this. I'm not holding anybody up to a standard that they don't hold themselves up to. So if you don't feel that you're conscious enough and all of that, this does not pertain to you. I'm talking to the people who claim to be conscious and live a conscious lifestyle. I hold you to a higher standard. I have plenty of human friends. What I do with them is play spades, pinochle, and drink Hennessy and lemonade with them. And we have gatherings at Christmas and Thanksgiving. Any other event that there's an excuse to eat stuffing, we do it. That's for my human friends. But now for my conscious folks, I hold you to a higher standard. So, when you hear, well, Panic in my email and Panic's kind of rough in here and this and this and that, because you are not my human friend. And I don't owe you courtesy. I owe you absolute reality. So if you're asking me a dumb question that you can find yourself, I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do work that I know you can do yourself. Remember, you came down here for these answers. I'm here to assist and be a tool, but not to be your bitch. So it's up to you to study. It's up to you to research. So we talked about opposites that are identical in nature. So remember, most of these principles deal with the principle or deal with the concept of a mental law. Meaning these laws are for your thinking, not just for your behavior. You may be able to apply some of these things to your behavior. I shall not steal his goats. I shall not take his peanut butter. Whatever the fuck you may do, you may be able to apply this to your daily life. But as a scientist, these things are in your thinking. You understand this now? These laws or these principles are for you to change your thinking. That's why it starts with number one, the principle of mentalism. The mind is all and the universe is mental. To show you that the true alchemy is going to happen in your own mind. So that's why I can say I can't make you live a standard if you haven't come to terms with your goal in your mind. Those who've come to terms with their goal for the alchemy, the change of the consciousness, this is what you're getting. You're getting a real set. I deal on a college level. I don't talk to you like you're in preschool. So I'm going to come out coarse every time. Every time. You should thank me for that. And many have thanked me for that because it's that coarseness or that ass whipping that got them to live or stand up to a higher standard in their study, and they seen the difference. So in your thinking, if you understand that, most people get stuck who've bought the book Cyclomancy from me, one of the books I recommend, out of print book. It has plenty of exercises on how to reinitiate some of these ancient psychic powers and so on and so forth. And one of the exercises is you put your hand in a bucket of cold water and visualize it as being hot, or a bucket of hot water and visualize it as being cold. Or he'll say, turn it to cold or turn it to hot. So most people are physically trying to turn cold water into hot. That doesn't make any sense. What he's telling you in the book, or trying to show you in the book, hot and cold, is only in your mind. Think about that. You walk in the room, your wife says it's cold. We give it we give it our logical explanation. Well, you have more iron in your blood than me, and you have women have a deficiency with iron, so they're usually more cold and they're usually more hot. Whatever. Of course, there's always going to be a human response. Remember, as above, so below. So you can explain things spiritually, or you can explain it humanly. That's why you have a show by Penn and Teller called Bullshit, where all the spiritual things, first of all, they were illusionists in the beginning. So all the spiritual things of the world or events, they tell you that's bullshit. This is a TV show on HBO. That's bullshit. And then they give you the human interpretation of why it happened. Scooby-Doo. It was Mr. Bill in the room with the knife, you tricky fucking. He would have got away if it wasn't for you pesky kids. So there's always a human interpretation for spirituality. It's your mentality that's going to make it. If you understand certain concepts, that all human events on the planet does have a spiritual birth, does come from a spiritual event. It cannot not come from it. That's what the word metaphysics means. It's for you to look beyond the physical. So there's a physical event, but there's a metaphysical reason this physical event took place. So when any event happens, there's always as above, so below, the above spiritual and the below physical. So you can explain any spiritual event away physically, no question. But as I pointed out, these laws are for you to interpret in your mind. So therefore, in your mind, every physical event I look at as spiritual. Always, got you. As a scientist. That's where you hear statements that you probably don't understand, but you heard them tossed around like fake it until you make it. Because you say, well, that sounds a little bit, like I'm just supposed to act like I'm doing something spiritual. Is that what that means? No, what it means is they're trying to tell you in another way, your mind will make real. They told you this shit in the Matrix. Your mind makes it real. So you're in a physical place and your mind needs to make it real. That's true. Your mind needs to make it real. So when you fake it until you make it, they're saying you fake it until your mind makes it real. So you niggas need to tell yourself anything y'all want to about you because your mind will make it real. Start telling yourself you can fly before you know it. You see a bunch of niggas doing this shit. They'll still be going to work at Walmart, but at least they're flying to work. You know what I'm saying? At least they're flying. So fake it until you make it, which is a phrase. I'm sure it comes from someplace else, but I remember it. The first place I remember reading it is in either Phil Hines or Peter Carroll's Chaos Magic books. Fake it until you make it. And that's one of the things that in Occult has been one of the famous sayings. So the science behind what they were saying is your mind will make it real. So you need to start telling yourself whatever. That's what they tell you in self-help books. What do you think they mean? Remember that Saturday Night Live skit? Pat. Not Pat. Al Franken. And he used to open up, he look in the mirror. I am beautiful. Everyone likes me. I am special. I am a good person. People love me. My parents love me. My kids love me. People like what I do. I am an asset to the world. Telling yourself this in the mirror. You see, because eventually by telling yourself this, you're faking it until you make it. That's what that means. So in the book, Psychomancy, people, like I said, were trying to do this experiment and physically change water. No, you're supposed to mentally be able to do this because you're doing mental exercises. Shit, it's a book about psychic power, not changing shit physically. So I guess when he wrote it, he assumed that you understood this concept, that you are trying to do mental exercises to understand. One of the things, if you do understand in terms of the principle of polarity, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pairs or opposite. Like and unlike are the same. Like and unlike are the same. Every pair has its opposites. So when you understand like and unlike is the same, when you see an event like Trey Martin, or you see white people beating the shit and choking the shit out of black people, and you say, well, that's unlike me. That's unlike how black people would do it. That's unlike us. But our wisdom, our science tells us with the principle of polarity that like and unlike are the same. Wait a minute. That beast, he's so different. That beast, he's from the caves. What do you mean? Well, our wisdom tells us like and unlike are the same. But when you're dealing with polarity, it is the same thing, just as they told you, but different in degrees. White people are just a different degree of our righteousness. And when you understand they're the same, or now listen closely, we're not talking about co-signing or emotionally agreeing with their behavior. We're talking about understanding why they behave the way they did. Well, you need to understand this because listen to the shit you said. They from the caves. They ain't got no melanin. They ain't got no soul. They from cat, rat, and dog. And I believe all of that may be very well true. But at the same time, they were still born from your DNA, i.e., like and unlike are the same. So this means as a scientist, if you can understand why they do what they do, you can then divorce yourself from the emotion. Listen closely. If you're trying to figure out why this beast and you think he's such a different thing, it tends to get you emotionally involved or your humanity involved. Oh, look what they did to Trayvon. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now understand, because I am in it but not of it, I still can see a Trayvon Martin or a Michael guy from Ferguson and feel the compassion. We're not talking about divorcing yourself from compassion. We're not talking about divorcing yourself from basic understanding or ideas or connection to certain people's plight. You get what I'm saying? What we're talking about is getting emotionally involved in the situation on the same level as every other human who doesn't know nothing when you call yourself someone who does know something. So, how I turn my compassion into something that helps is by doing this, by raising our people up, as opposed to walking in the street, protesting, writing Congress, saying, well, Obama does more. That puts me in the experiment. I become the rat. As a scientist, I can see our situation and understand what it is we need to get out of this and help to provide it. There's a difference. So understanding the law of polarity, I understand why they react, and therefore I can look at this reaction. What you see is a bunch of scared white men lashing out at black people. You know it, and I know it. That's what you need to understand. So if they're the scared, and we understand like and unlike, what does that mean? That means we are the fearless, and we must operate in a place of non-fear. So each time you ask, Panic, should I do that? And when I set up my altar, and if I do that, the spirits are going to, and something, and I don't know if I should be fucking with that meditation, and Satan, and Baphomet is so scary. When you're doing all of that, you're operating in fear. That's operating like the white man. We operate out of love. They operate out of fear. So when you understand this in terms of the master hermeticist or the conscious person, you're able to look at both sides' polarity. You are no longer in the game. You are overseeing the chess game. You didn't pick black or white. You're overseeing. So all you niggas who think you're deep because you play a game of chess, I'm the master of the game. I watch you play. So no matter who wins or loses, I'm not even in it. I'm a scientist. Like, Panic, do you play chess? No, I gave up chess when I was 8. And I beat my teachers, who was my father. When I bust his ass, I was done. Actually, at age 13. After I started busting his ass, I was done with chess at 13. So stop asking me if I play shit like chess. I'm trying to show you, you have to be above the game. You're not a player no more. You're a scientist. I'm a scientist. You should be a scientist. I hold you to that standard if you say you're conscious. If you don't hold yourself to that standard, guess what? You're off the hook with me. Because I'm not trying to make you nothing that you're not. So it says all truths are but half-truths, paradoxes can be reconciled. So I reconcile my paradoxes, my questions, when I look at polarity. And I become the middle point. The middle point, which represents God in terms of polarity. So now we understand a little bit about polarity. Let's get into the law of rhythm, because this is going to explain this Bill Cosby shit for you on a scientific level, not on a human level of goddamn opinions. Because what I see is a bunch of opinions from conscious people who are supposed to be scientists. Either the ones who are still trying to hold on to that fantasy that he provided, and even the ones who say, fuck Bill Cosby, fuck that motherfucker. Man, it's still your emotion. And again, like I said, if you're on Facebook, there's nothing wrong with it. I do it all the time. Fuck this nigga, fuck that nigga, fuck that nigga. I just don't go to bed feeling that shit. That's what you do in a social network. All right, so rhythm, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Everything has tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. Again, the pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure to the swing to the right is a measure to the swing to the left. Rhythm compensate. Out of this principle is where you get the law of what goes up must come down. What you get is, you can also say birds of a feather flock together, kinda. That's in there in terms of that law. That's a little bit more closer to magnetism, which is a form of rhythm. And you also get live by the gun, die by the gun. That's a law that comes out of the principle of rhythm. See, we dealing with these principles in all the shit we say every day. But we just don't know that there's a master list that this was born out of. That's from your wisdom, the principles, or what they call laws of Tahuti. Later in 1900-something, reemerged on the planet under the name the Kabbalion, written by the three initiates, which is Hermes, the thrice great, which is Tahuti. So they masked it as the wisdom of Tahuti, as some guys named the three initiates who wrote something called the Kabbalion. But it was just plagiarized from earlier works of ours, the walls of Kevin. So, the fifth great Hermetic principle, the principle of rhythm, embodies the truth that everything there manifests as measured motion, to and from movement, flow and inflow, a swing forward and backwards, a pendulum, like movement, tide like ebb and flow, a high tide, a low tide, between two poles, manifests on the physical, mental, or spiritual planes. The principle of rhythm is closely connected with the principle of polarity. That's why I went through polarity, described in the preceding chapter. Rhythm manifests between two poles established by the principle of polarity. So, once you can establish polarity, like and unlike, whatever that situation may be, then in our case, let's use rich and poor. That the pole, that pendulum, whether you're rich and poor, is going to swing. It's going to swing. It's going to be an ebb and flow. There's going to be high times and low times. You cannot get around this absolute. There's a way to annul, slow down, or neutralize this, which we're going to talk, which is something I actually teach in my class, how to neutralize. Stay in the good times, or what you define as good times, and neutralize or polarize or slow down the other side of that rhythm, what you consider the bad times. There's a way to do that. And that too is mental. So we established the law of rhythm is a pendulum swing. And a pendulum is that clock or whatever. Everything moves on that way. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. You need to remember this, because we're about to get to Bill Cosby with this. There's, let me see. There's always an action and reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking, manifested in all the airs of phenomenon, all the universe, suns, worlds, through men, through animals, plants, minerals, forces, energy, mind, matter, yes, and even spirit. Manifest this principle of rhythm. This principle manifests in creation and destruction of the worlds and the rise and fall of nations, in life, history, and all things, and finally, the mental states of man. So they're telling you in everything, there's an up and a down. Everything, there's an up and a down. America, you feel up, we definitely going down. Based upon the principle of rhythm. You cannot have it. Nothing here is forever. Things may be under the illusion of forever. For instance, America's in a deficit, but it's still the illusion of a world power. And that's how you get into the law of neutralization that we're going to talk about in a few seconds. How you neutralize and create the illusion of power, which you still may be operating under the emotion that you're powerful. Because if you ask anybody right now, America's the most powerful country in the world. But then they'll tell you, scholastically, China's kids are fucking you up. Health-wise, you're number 32, you fat fucking McDonald's fuckers. And the economy is behind. The yen is damn near, the fucking peso is damn near more expensive than the dollar at this point. The healthcare system, Canada's better. So wait a minute, you could go damn near in every category and they'll tell you where America's failing. But if you ask the average American, this is the greatest country in the world, goddammit. We're free. We're free, goddammit. They'll tell you all of this bullshit. But you go down the list in any category, they'll tell you where you're trailing. That's the law of neutralization, or part of it. But that's because the pendulum has swung back to the other motherfucking side. You know what I'm saying? The law of rhythm, baby, is going to happen. This is closely connected to my yacht that you niggas like to talk about all the fucking time. I shall not steal this man's pigs, and reciprocity. And y'all have the physical understanding, which gets into compensation. And we're going to actually talk about compensation, which is more what you niggas have just regulated my yacht down to, compensating you. I take your pig and you can give a man a pig, but if you wrong a man and steal his pig, you can always make even with that man. If you shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? You fucking corny ass, stuck ass, slave minded Negroes. It's time for you to change your fucking mind. I'm sick of hearing this conscious shit. You niggas have regulated your down to another church. It became fucking fucking Episcopalian, fucking Baptist, Pentecostal, and conscious. Check. You know what I'm saying? That's like another way of saying fucking hallelujah. Hotep is now hallelujah. Each time I hear a nigga say Hotep, he's saying hallelujah to me. You fucking corny ass, stuck routine, fashion and Christianity ass niggas using the same motif, the same motherfucking template for your ancient science. Cut it out. Enough already. I'm tired of saying the same shit over and over again. How are you niggas not getting this shit? It's all in your mind. You are stuck and you are dealing with fear. You're dealing on the wrong side of your goddamn essence. Anything you can possibly deal with in this shit is yours. Is yours. Nothing to be scared of. Think like a fucking scientist. Stop thinking with fucking tradition, which led to superstition, which led to religion. You're superstitious niggas at this point. I can't and what you can't do. Stop calling yourself fucking gods. So, understand how rhythm also manifests. The Brahmins or Hindu folks talk about what they call the breath of Brahma. Brahma, as they word it, the universe or universes are created, reach an extreme low point in their materiality, and then begin an upward swing, sun spring into being, and their height of power being reached they supernova, go in and out. So this is a rhythm there. And they talk about in the mythology what they call the breath of Brahma. The breath of Brahma is also scientifically known as the Big Bang and then the Big Crunch. That this whole entire time and universe is only one breath of Brahma. That he breathed out, the Big Bang, then he breathes in, the Big Crunch. And the universe implodes on itself. That's the law of rhythm. They're telling you this whole universe is born and received in the law of rhythm. One pendulum spring or one breath. Y'all getting this shit now? It's simple. All your shit corresponds if you know the science and you start putting this science together and stop trying to figure it out anymore. You niggas gonna have to take my class where I show you how to do this. That's where I show you. Here, you're not gonna get it for free, you lazy bastards. You're gonna have to get into this class where I give you detailed understanding on how this is done. You gotta change your thinking. You need to understand that. This whole conscious plight is mental. Stop thinking that when you became conscious, that physical things will react, but you guys put the ceiling on your consciousness with physical behavior. That's false. You don't get to say Hotep, beloved, she's my queen. Like I see now people posting like they calling people Hotepers, and these Hotepers are doing this for this one. I've been telling you this nigga for fucking 7 years now about niggas that say Hotep to these hoes for pussy. I've been telling you this. If you just getting up on this now, you niggas are slow and fucking behind. I've been telling you about this way of getting pussy by saying Hotep and calling you queen, because what they're really buying into is your fucking low self-esteem. Because you took your science and as somebody said, the black woman is special as a form of esteem. Get over that. Find somewhere else to find your self-esteem. They're talking, these titles are levels that you need to obtain. The God level is a level. The goddess level is a level you need to obtain in your mental powers. The light that you have in your evolution. You reach the God or goddess level. Not in the way you wear your hair, the way you interact with other conscious people. Hotep, beloved, sister queen almighty, God that brings forth breast milk that nourishes planet Earth. Oh, I was out walking barefooted in dandelions today. That shit ain't nothing. That shit ain't nothing. That helps your self-esteem. It makes you feel better about walking around this planet paying your fucking rent and all the other shit that they got you doing. No, you do that because you made the choice to do that. And that's what you're here to do. You don't need self-esteem or to balance that out. That's what it takes to sustain yourself. Shit, that's why I gotta sell herb packs. I'm under no illusion of what we're here to do. But the alchemy happens here. That's why they say things, or niggas in jail say things, they could do everything, but they can't take your mind from you. Because they can't take your mind from you. That's what they can't touch. They only can try to control your mind. And they do that with Trayvon Martin, Bill Cosby, or whatever. Whether it's true or not true, which we're going to get into, it doesn't matter. They know you're going to react and it's going to be in your mind. In fact, they know you're going to have a debate among black folks saying if it's true or not true. What if that's the goal? Then they got you. You understand this? So you have to, that's why, again, you have to divorce yourself, become the scientist, and stop emotionally reacting. You're emotionally reacting, and even with your conscious shit, you're emotionally reacting and socially reacting to your ancient science. You're not using the science to find or gain light for the true alchemy, which is nothing but evolution or change. Evolution or change. Advanced frequencies in your thoughts to be able to interact with higher forms of light beings. To interact, you must become one with it to magnetize it. Penny, how do you talk to spirits? Because I became one. How do you talk to these gods? Because I became one. Not in theory. Not in my appearance, in my dress, or my attitude. Which niggas need to, hey, you ain't a god because you're not friendly to me in your fucking email, so you're not really conscious. Because I'm not friendly to you in my email? What low self-esteem you have? What low self-esteem you have? That has nothing to do with it. It's all about what's in your mind. I'm not here, or you shouldn't be here as well, to cultivate social manners through consciousness. You're not here to cultivate social manners through consciousness. You're here to cultivate your mind. Cultivate your mind. So you came down here to be the scientist. This place is the lab. You understand? This is the lab for you to do your work. You are from all of these advanced things. You came down here to study these lower things only so you can say what an advanced thing is. You cannot call yourself an advanced thing unless you're able to understand and study something that's considered a low thing. That low thing is humanity. You having a human body is you coming down to come into the lab to study it only with the apparatus of your mind. Or you came down here to be studied, meaning you didn't come down here to be conscious. You came down here to do everything a fucking human would do, i.e. the conscious are supposed to study your black ass. All right? So you need to make the choice. If you're conscious, you either study in humanity, which means you have to step outside of it mentally. Understand, this doesn't mean throw old ladies down the stairs. This doesn't mean say, fuck you, you're a human and I'm better. This has nothing to do with ego or none of those things that people classically make arguments about. Has nothing to do with that. This has because I'm with the humans that I deal with personally, I'm probably the most sweetest, courteous guy they will ever meet. I promise you this. But to conscious people who I interact, I'm going to be a dog. A G-O-D-D-O-G dog. Because I expect a higher standard from you. If you call yourself conscious, I expect we're dealing on a more intellectual level, that we're not here for our emotional appeasement. This ain't about your feelings. This is about you figuring out the next thing in your alchemical phase of change. Therefore, what I have to offer, because I know I am here, one of my role here is to offer that as well as study, that I offered it in a way where you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, not stand on my motherfucking back with your questions of shit that you don't know and refuse to find out for yourself. We're not going to play that game. The game we playing here is learn or fucking be or be the one that's being studied. Learn or fucking sit around and go get you a value meal at McDonald's. Do what they do if you're going to do it. You can't have it both ways. Because then that's another argument here. Well, can we have it both ways, Panic? No, you cannot. I'm saying no, you cannot. You're either conscious or you're fucking human. And if you're conscious, we understand you're having a human experience. You interact accordingly. If you're human, that means you're all in. You're all in. They kill Trayvon Martin. You fucking get a sign. You be mad. You be sad. You cry. And you fake like you care for Trayvon. Because you really say this bullshit. It can't happen to me and my son. Because you're really worried about your son. You're not really worried about Trayvon. Any motherfucking way. Because that's all you heard. It could have been me. Because that's what you're really worried about. You getting your ass kicked. Because why? You're scared. And you're in fear. When I told you, that's unlike who you truly are. Unlike I like my ancestors. Well, your ancestors wasn't scared. You are, motherfucker. I honor the ancestors. Well, honor them with losing the fear. Because they wasn't walking around here in fear. That's why they were able to dictate and run the planet through love. That's why everybody ate. Everybody had a place. Even retards. Even the so-called evil people. That's why you see Set still on the walls with every other divine being. I like Horus. I like this one. Well, Set is up on the walls too. He's in the mythology because every energy had a place and it has a role. That's why every movie has a bad guy. They can't have a movie without a bad guy or a situation that's bad or a problem that they have to overcome. That's the process down here. That's a part of the rhythm polarity thing. For there to be a good guy, there must be a bad guy. So everything, our ancestors weren't scared of it. They understood it as the role. That's that Set energy. Fuck these fucking scared ass. You're still talking about the devil versus Jesus. That's where you get the idea from. They taught you that in Christianity. And I just told you, you got the same fucking motif of evil and bad. That's made up shit to put you in a state of fear, which you are in. So you want to honor the ancestors? Stop saying, oh, Baphomet and Beyonce has a Baphomet ring on. Fuck all of that. That's scaredy cat bullshit. Humanity and unlike what you are. So the Brahmins believed the whole breath of Brahma, the whole universe was created in one breath. Breathing in and out. Let me, I wrote down some of the techniques that I do for all you niggas, because a lot of you niggas are talking about the breath lately. Well, let me give you some breath exercises that y'all can do. For the Brahma breath, you breathe in. When you breathe in, you go. It's hard to do, but you're saying. What you're really saying is bra. And then when you release ma, you're saying Brahma in one breath. This breath is encompassing the universe as the all, as the God mind. Very advanced. Those three breaths got me fucked up right now. Now, one of the things I've learned through certain meditations, certain techniques in the occult that got me there, then when I went back and started doing breath techniques, it felt just like versions of other things I've done. So the breath thing doesn't hold high with me. For breath techniques, what you need to do is contact Dr. Aleem L. Bey. At draleemlbey.com, he will give you techniques. He has lectures on techniques. I keep promising my brother we're coming back on Blog Talk soon. Just been so busy. But goddamn it, we are. We'll be on Blog Talk soon. That's a promise to do a few more shows. Well, let me get all my advertising out the way. I'm going to give y'all some more breaths. Herb packs. You can get them. I don't really think no one doesn't know what my herb packs are. My herb packs are all organic, no drugs. You can pass piss tests. The only warning is if you're pregnant or lactating, one of the ingredients they say don't use. That's the only warning. You can drink it as a tea. I recommend smoking it. Some people drink it as a tea if you're not a smoker. Any way you can get it in your system, go ahead and try it. People have taken baths with it. You get a fat, juicy stack. I should have brought a stack in. I always forget to do that so you can see how big it is. A fat, juicy stack of organic herbs, a very low price. You get them at occultlectures.com. That's my website, occultlectures.com. And there I explain what the herb pack is, what it does. I have plenty of lectures explaining what it does. What it is medicine. Herbs for your third eye, your pineal gland. Your pineal gland, because it's out of use, has calcified to some extent. For white people, it's totally calcified. At least I'm told it is from all my elder lecturers. For black people, calcification does set in because we don't use it. But the herb pack, which I've been selling for over 5 to 6 years now, certified, my niggas. Certified. It couldn't be certified for 5 years unless we got my testimonials also on my page. So you can go ahead and get you a healthy chunk of them testimonials to see for yourself what folks have been saying about this herb pack for years now. for years. Internationally known. Brother Panic's Herbs for opening up that funky ass calcified pineal you're wearing on the top of your head. What people have been saying, because every people are dealing with different things in their consciousness. So you name it, by using the herbs, many different things have happened. Quiet the cheddar for meditation. People be able to sleep longer, dream harder, visions, sexual appetite. People who smoke stop smoking. Able to talk to spirits. And I'm forgetting so many things. I could smell shit better. A lot of things seem to come online. And whatever usually happens once you smoke the herb pack is usually the telltale story of the work you're going to do. So usually when you get rid of the calcification by smoking the herb, if you can see spirits, 9 times out of 10 you're supposed to talk to spirits. If you can meditate with a little bit more focus, 9 times out of 10, which doesn't mean you're not supposed to talk to spirits or anything else, but 9 times out of 10, you'll probably get more revelations through forms of meditation. If you're able to breathe more, some people say they're able to breathe, stop smoking, able to breathe better. They're probably supposed to do a lot of breathing techniques for your consciousness or whatever you're supposed to be going on here. So I can tell you, you name it, amazing shit has happened. I have different versions of herb packs, herbs that I add extra herbs to for money, prosperity, healing, negativity. All of these things will charge your aura once you get it in your system. Like I said, I have a detailed breakdown of my herbs on my website, occultlectures.com. Email. And I also have, let me see who's calling me. I also have baths, spiritual baths, very important. Anybody, you don't have to check my website, just check online and see what a spiritual bath is, first and foremost, because a lot of people don't understand what that is. A spiritual bath, you use a particular combination of herbs, and spiritually it cleans your aura. Your aura is a 7-layered light system, which is magnetic, usually pulls whatever low energy based upon your thoughts. And most of us have low thoughts about our job, about our kids, our spouse, life in general, about what the fuck Beyonce or Madonna is wearing at the fucking MMA awards, or whatever the fuck it is. These thoughts take formation. And these thought formations usually manifest physically. So, you think you're depressed, these formation of thoughts become depression. And those stick to your aura, meaning your very being. There's a story where, and I told this before, there was a white boy who can see auras. He's got one of those hand-me-down powers from a black woman. One of his hand-me-down powers from us. He was able to see auras. And before the big game, he seen one of the football players had a hole in their leg, in the aura. And later that day, that football player sustained an injury in that very same leg. In other words, the white boy was able to see the injury before the physical manifestation of the injury. This goes into 2 things. The point I'm making now and the point that I told you before, when you supposed to you can look at the physical world and the spiritual world. A change in polarity is looking at the spiritual world. You can always explain some physical shit, well, he hurt his leg. But there was proof in the pudding that this spiritually was in existence before the physical manifestation. So if everyone is trying to figure out this physical world, which is something I teach in my class, you need to be able to understand how the metaphysical or the spiritual world operates. And then you will understand what's happening down here. That's a motherfucking scientist. If you're not dealing with spirituality, you're fucking bullshitting yourself, nigga. You're dealing with fucking sociality, nigga. Hotep, beloved, well, I love to you. Why do I love you? Because you're the fucking queen. You know why I love you? Because you're a fucking king. And you're a king. You know why you're a king? Because you take care of your seeds. Yes, you take care of your seeds. Why do you take care of your seeds? Well, beloved, I take care of my seeds because I have breast milk. And I breast milk and feed these seeds. And my breast milk has sustained. You know why my breast milk sustains? Because ISIS got a picture of it. Ooh, Hotep, nigga, Hotep. That's all you fucking doing. You're not a spiritualist, you're a fucking socialist. Get the fuck off of it. Calm your fucking nerves. Get down to some meat, nigga. Niggas eating too many goddamn bean sprouts. Get to the meat, nigga. That's spirituality, nigga. So he could see the whole before the physical fucking act happened. You understand?